Okay, so you can see some of the games that are going to be ranked. I got everything from 8-bit to DOS to Modern, from Alicia Dragoon to Zork. It's all there. Official games, hacks. Oh, and I just went too far down. Can we see all of, yeah, these are all of the games. So take a good look, scan it, predict what will get 5 stars, predict what will get 1 star. We'll start with the first game. Ultraman Towards the Future. This game, I don't know why I thought, oh, it was a good idea to start a long-term project with Super Nintendo Ultraman. Yeah, I played Intelligent Cube. I did that last year. I remember the theme that month, January 2018, was fighting games. And holy crap, I was thinking, oh, if I'm going to start something, I should probably start a throwaway game, just in case what I want to do turns out to be a bust. And this game, quite a bust. I mean, there are some good things about it, like the monster design and the music is fun, but everything else about the game, very janky. No, there's no multiplayer, there's no couch multiplayer. It's just one mode, one single player mode, defeat 9 kaiju, and you win. That's it. Well, Mitty, at least you didn't pick Super NES. You mean Street Combat? So we'll put this 2 stars. See, it's not gonna be a 5-star fest. I don't know many video games because I didn't grow up with them, but I see some cute character designs. Yeah, cute character. And speaking of cute character designs, Katawa Shoujo. This was game number 2, Dating Sim Month. Hard Battle was released here. That's right, Hard Battle was released here. But I actually have a copy of Ultraman, so I wanted to play a game that I actually had a physical copy of. That was my mindset at the time. Oh, but wait a minute. Bunny actually has Hard Battle. Well, too late now. Yeah, Katawa Shoujo. This was for Dating Sim Month, and this was at the time where I struggled with the... Oh, wait, no. Actually, I take that back. I attempted to play the game True Love 95 for Dating Sim Month. 18, 19, 20... It took me 5 years to do it, but I eventually do it, but I have been trying to play True Love, but I couldn't. And I didn't have any money at the time, so I was thinking, okay, what do I do? What do I find? I have to find something with dating sims. I came across Katawa... Dating Sim Otome Game, etc. Okay. Well, I've done a few of them, I think. Katawa Shoujo, a game where... Oh, it's a visual novel, but you can choose between different girls in Kuleg. And each of the girls that you date has a specific handicap with varying disabilities, according to Wikipedia. It was free, and I did like some of the character designs for realsies. It was kind of a weird game, and it takes a long time to go through it. Very long time. I only followed one route, and woof, that felt like it took forever. And oh, I do love dating sims and Otome. Yeah, so do half of the community game along regulars. That's why dating sim is one of the main permanent themes. Yeah, if you look up Katawa Shoujo, you can find it, download it easily. It's free. Some of the music is pretty good though. But yeah, I can't say it's a horrible game, do not recommend it, but I also cannot say it is a great game, I highly recommend it. So I'm just gonna put this in a 3 right there. Our first 3-star game. It's, if you're interested in visual novel romance type games, maybe this could be it for you. And I mean, it's free. Yeah, good luck with that. Game number 3. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite for the PlayStation Portable. This was back when... Oh, if any of the sound is wonky or weird, or low or too loud, just let me know. But anyway, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. This was released on the PlayStation Portable, and this was back when the Community Game Along had a Monster Hunter theme every year. I had never played a Monster Hunter game before at the time, but I needed to find a way to play a Monster Hunter game, and this was the only thing I could come up with. And the Monster Hunter games, they're a lot. I didn't have time to record a whole ass Monster Hunter, so I just decided, hey, I'm gonna go through all the tutorials, and I'll call it a day. For me, it was not a bad introduction to Monster Hunter, but there was a much better one further down the list. You probably could see it next to Harvest Moon. So I'm going to put this up here. 3 stars for Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Next, Dynasty Warriors Strike Force for, again, PlayStation Portable. Because I could not think of anything else to play, and this game is tough. This game is frustrating. And with the Musou, basically games where you kill lots and lots and lots and lots of enemies in one screen. For that type of genre, there really weren't that many enemies to face. I'm sure you could do a lot better with the genre elsewhere. So for that reason, and for how frustratingly difficult it is, our first 1 star, Dynasty Warrior Strike Force. Game number 5. Oh, also, if there is a game that I talk about that you're like, oh, wait, what's this game? Tell me more about it. I can go back to this screen and then pull up a video, a short little video clip of the game. You could just stop me. It's like, hey, stop. Talk about this game some more. Okay, game number 5. Magic Sword. Platformer, arcade platformer from Capcom, composed by Manami Matsume, who some might recognize for OG Mega Man. It's a sort of a guilty pleasure, fun times arcadey game for me, because Magic Sword, it's a fun one, but at the time I had never beaten the SNES version. I think I beat the arcade version in one of those arcade compilations. But yeah, pretty fun. I'm gonna put it up here, 4 stars. Our first best game. Game number 6. Audio Surf. AKA the only reason why I had a Steam account for the longest time. In Audio Surf, you put in any music track that you want, and the game generates a sort of race course / puzzle type deal that you have to play through. When Capcom had variety and not just new Street Fighter. That is true. Capcom, a lot of variety back then. I had recorded Audio Surf 4 videos worth of different songs, and they got DMCA'd. So, my playthrough of Audio Surf, it only exists on my backup hard drive. You cannot find it anywhere on the webs. It is a great game, but be very careful if you intend to stream it or play it. 4 stars. Next, Terranigma, Super Nintendo. My first JRPG July, because US copyright sucks! Terranigma, Terranigma. Oh. I knew that when I started supporting the community game along through this, I knew that a lot of my games were kind of experimental. What if okay? It's not bad. I knew that the first game that I genuinely enjoyed a lot, it had to be Terranigma. Because I didn't know what JRPG July was going to be like for me, so safe bet. Give myself a game that I knew I would like. Terranigma, definitely one of the best action RPGs I've ever played. It does have a few annoying difficult spikes, though. Few very annoying difficult spikes that you would have to grind to deal with. But you don't grind too much or it'll be too easy for you. The music is amazing, and the staff roll makes me feel emotional every single time I hear it. 4 stars. Only because of the annoying difficult spikes. But I'm gonna say 4.5. Because out of all the games that are up here right now, Terranigma is the best one. Terranigma is the best one out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of the others. It's certainly better than Dynasty Warriors. It's certainly better than Ultraman. Next is the one SNES game I wish I could own. Secret of Evermore. I do remember doing a poll. Yeah, retro collecting, it got too high, yeah. Tragic, it is so tragic. I remember doing a poll because that year there was going to be a JRPG July and Action RPG August. I did a poll. Hey, for JRPG July, do you want to see me play Terranigma or do you want to see me play... Oh wait, no. For Action RPG August, do you want me to play Terranigma or do you want me to play Secret of Evermore? The poll tied. So I ended up playing both. I played Terranigma for JRPG July and Secret of Evermore for Action RPG August. My original JRPG July plan, I delayed it to the next year, 2019. Because I am a fan of SNES B movie plots, like, one of my favorites is Zombies Ate My... I love Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I actually have a... Well, no, Bunny has a copy of it. Bunnycartoon has a copy of it. But that game gets really tough at parts. But, you know what? Just because some games are tough doesn't mean they're not fun. Difficult games can be fun. Dynasty Warriors not being one of those games. But Zombies Ate My Neighbors, that is a perfect example of a game that is both fun and frustrating. But anyway, Secret of Evermore. That whole thing was cursed for me. No pun intended, cursed. No, cursed for real. Because at the time, the computer I had just gotten was having some issues that I had to ship away to get repaired. So, my playthrough of the game got abruptly cut short because I could not finish it in time. But if you've never heard of Secret of Evermore, it basically plays like the Seiken Densetsu games, but you only play as one character, and your dog companion is your only AI companion, and it evolves over the course of the game. You travel through different periods of time just to get back home. We in North America got that instead of Trials of Mana. Because Secret of Evermore was clearly going to be the better sell than Trials of Mana. Seiken Densetsu 3. But that doesn't mean that Secret of Evermore is a bad game by any means. Nah, it's not a bad game. We just could have gotten better, is all. I'm gonna put it right here, 3 stars. Because I'm more indifferent to Secret of Evermore than anything else. It's not bad, but I honestly don't see myself wanting to play it again. So, and the next game, my first Sega title, Bonanza Brothers. Because I wanted to play a stealth game, and... Excuse you. Get out of here. Get out of here. Where's my music? I don't care what science did. I want my music. Okay. Bonanza Brothers was sort of a stealth game, but I mean, if I could go back to 2018 and pick a different stealth game for that theme, I totally would have. It's a silly game. You go through these different buildings and you steal shit, and you have to avoid cops and the guards along the way. Where would I put this? My mind is saying 3 stars. Yeah, I think I'll do that. 3 stars. The next one, Party 2. This game was interesting. This was for Horror Game October. And this game was made entirely with the RPG Maker engine. You're trapped in a home. You're trapped in a home, and throughout the game, you get some weird things that happen throughout the game. To the point where the game will sometimes crash on you and will insert files into your desktop a la Doki Doki Literature Club. But the game is so difficult to look up. Maybe this will be the first game that I actually put a video up, because I think it's better to... I feel like it would be better to show you guys a video than to try and explain what Party 2 is like. Yeah, that was all made in RPG Maker. And I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Oh, we should probably put the music back. Moving on. Next game. Heaven Will Be Mine. Visual novel month. This game, the basic premise is you are 3 different mech pilots. The current theme of the community game along right now is a mecha game March. I should post this. I should post about this game after I'm done streaming. But Heaven Will Be Mine. Short visual novel about 3 female mech pilots that love each other, that are into each other, and they want their love, they want their romance, their revenge. They can have a bad romance. It's nice. The art is cool, and the characters are very interesting, but I feel like for a visual novel, oh, it looks cool. Yeah, it's weird and interesting. But for Heaven Will Be Mine, it doesn't feel like you get that many opportunities to influence the course of the story. Like, there's few... It plays out like if you're reading a choose your own adventure book, sort of. It's weird to explain. Like there's not every other scene has branching paths. Okay, I feel like I'm doing a weird job explaining. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Meant to go back here. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, for Heaven Will Be Mine, compared to a lot of the visual novels that I have up here, limited opportunities to branch the story compared to what I've been playing. So, 3 stars. But, community game along Chick Pixel Discord, I am going to plug this, because it is at least worth looking at as a possibility for Mecha Game March. And finally, I close out my 2018 with Rockman 4 minus Infinity. It is a Japanese hack of the game Mega Man 4 that completely changes the level designs, changes the way that the bosses attack you, it changes their pattern. It changes the weapons that you get from those bosses. Yeah, I get what you mean when it feels like you don't really get to make a lot of choices. Yeah, there you go. You don't really get to make a lot of choices in Heaven Will Be Mine. It's still worth trying. It's still fun and unique looking. But yeah, it just feels more limited. But going back to Rockman 4 minus Infinity, it also adds some other game modes like boss rushes, and it is really cool. I was amazed at what was attempted, what was done with this game. Mega Man 4, not one of my favorites, but minus Infinity makes it a lot more. Oh, and I forgot, the music is different too. Hey, Burp Man, looking at 100 different games that I've played and recorded, and I am now talking about Rockman 4 minus Infinity, a ROM hack of Mega Man 4. And when I say they changed the music, what I mean is they took music from other games, made it sound 8-bit. Like, you'll hear music from ActRaiser done in 8-bit. You'll hear F-Zero X music done in 8-bit. It is very interesting and very cool. And I'm going to make it my very first 5-star game. Rockman 4 minus Infinity. And now, I'm at the point where I am thinking, okay, this little old project of mine, not so bad. Maybe I'll try another year and see how that goes. We start off my 2019 with Mickey Mania: The Timeless Adventures of Mickey Mouse, the Genesis version. Specifically the Genesis version because it sounds better and there's more levels. This game was made by the same dude that created God of War, the original one. Little tidbit right there. And what is that game you have on the 1-star? Oh, that is Dynasty Warriors Strike Force for the PlayStation Portable. And then on the 2-star, Ultraman Super Nintendo. 3 stars, Katawa Shoujo, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, Secret of Evermore, Bonanza Brothers, Heaven Will Be Mine. 4 stars, Magic Sword, Audio Surf, Terranigma, and Party 2. And I think I said this in the beginning, but all the games I played will vary from, oh my god, I love this, to maybe I should not have played this. But every game that I played, I feel like it's worth trying or looking into at least one time. Because if I just only played and recorded the games that I loved, then I would get bored very quickly. But Mickey Mania, this is a platformer that takes you through basically through the history of Mickey Mouse, from Steamboat Willie up to, at the time, Prince and the Pauper, which was at the time Mickey's most recent film appearance. It is kind of tricky, but the level design in this game was really good. And the animation was so fluid. Disney Genesis games look so good. So I have to give this a 4-star one. Oh boy, oh my god. Mickey Mania is fine, but since day one, I hate the hitboxes. Yes! Yes! That right there is one of the main reasons why I cannot give Mickey Mania 5 stars, because exactly what Burtman says right there. The hitboxes are... they're annoying. They're frustrating. But oh boy. 2019, once again, I tried to play True Love 95 for Dating Sim Month, couldn't figure it out. So I was stuck with another H game. Season of the Sakura. Or, as I like to call it, the bootleg anime waifu dating simulator. And it's not really a dating sim at all. It's a visual novel. You get plenty of branching paths. But not a lot of. Every single girl, woman that you could choose from, they all look like bootlegs of various anime characters from the 90s. Basically, you can choose from every girl in Magic Knight Raiders, the Evangelion girls, your teacher is bootleg Misato, Saint Tail is in there, I forgot who else is in there. It is such a weird game. It is weird. It's hilarious, though, for the wrong reasons. But it is so weird. And the writing is odd. I'm from bootleg land, so this is my aesthetic. Well, if this is your aesthetic, then I would definitely recommend Season of the Sakura. Are they cute bootlegs? Oh, okay, yes, I will give you that. They are very cute bootlegs. And your bootleg Misato teacher basically teaches you how to pleasure women, and whatever you're imagining, however you're interpreting this is probably accurate. I'm gonna put you in 1 star. They're cute bootlegs, but that's about all this game has going for it. Next, say no more. We know what Misato has to teach. Military leadership. Yeah, she definitely teaches you to take charge in the bedroom, so to speak. Next, Monster Hunter, what? Get out of here. Monster Hunter World. Again, the Monster Hunter theme came back. But this time I actually had money, and I wanted to do something that I had never done before. Record directly off the PlayStation 4. Monster Hunter World was on a deep discount during Black Friday, so I thought, okay, if Monster Hunter themes are going to come back, I might as well try this game. And wow, Monster Hunter World, definitely a very fun, accessible way to get people introduced to the whole Monster World gameplay style. It was a lot more useful to me than Freedom Unite. And screw Anjanath. I'm just going to say that right now. If you've played Monster Hunter, screw Anjanath. And screw that giant rat puff balloon looking thing that is not cute at all. I forgot what its name is called, but I don't care. So, but anyway, Monster Hunter World, I'm giving it 5 stars. Because if you've ever been curious about the Monster Hunter games, but don't quite know where to begin, I would definitely recommend this one. I think it was the Monster Hunter game that makes the franchise mainstream for real in the US. It definitely helped. I believe that this was Capcom's highest selling title ever. Yeah, this game did a lot of good for the franchise and its popularity here. There were some hardcore Monster Hunter fans before this, though, like our community game along founder Apricot Sushi. But Monster Hunter World definitely helped with that. Next, Harvest Moon for the Super Nintendo. For its time, Harvest Moon Super Nintendo was great. It was different. It was charming. It took something as mundane as being a farmer and made it fun. But since then, there have been a lot better farming games out there. Way better. Like, everything else that came out after it. Hell, Stardew Valley was basically made because the guy wanted to make Harvest Moon a much better experience. So, if you if you love nostalgia, then Harvest Moon SNES is great. But compared to literally everything else that came out after it, it's not so great. 2 stars. 2 stars. Harvest Moon Super Nintendo. Oh, I have a respectfully different opinion. Oh, cool, cool. What would you... That's fine. Remember, Monster Hero Sakurai said the game you like best is the best. It is one of my favorites. I mean, yeah, it is still a fun game. It is still a great game. It's on Nintendo Switch Online now, actually. But I hesitate to recommend it when Stardew Valley exists. So, not saying it's terrible, but if you love it, it's one of your favorites, then it is amazing. I am happy for you, and I sincerely mean that. Now, we got a copy of it in here too, and no way we're getting rid of that, because it is one of my favorites, because it is one of those that does not ask you for anything out of obligation. Everything is maximum chill. Yes, absolutely. I will concede to that. It is. Yeah, it is maximum chill, and in the 90s, chill games were hardly a thing. This was a very innovative game, a big deal. In the next Harvest Moon, people start to ask you for everything monthly. So yeah, not a horrible game, but it has been improved considerably since then. However, innovative, very innovative for its time. Nah, it's fine. If you want to share your opinions, please do. Please absolutely share your opinions. I love hearing about how much games resonate with people. Because I don't want this to just be about me. This is not a celebration of me and my experiences. It's also partly a celebration of these games. It's also a celebration of what we've discovered that we didn't know exists out there. Next game, Smart Ball. One of the very first games from Game Freak, and one of the very first games that Akira Yamaoka composed. This is a bad platformer. I'm just gonna say it right there. It is bland. The gameplay, the platforming, very wonky. The music, I mean, yeah, it's kind of fun to look back at how Akira Yamaoka started, but the music, eh. And for the North American release, they basically removed the entire story. As a foreigner, Smart Ball sounds like an American insult. Well, wouldn't surprise me if it is an insult. An American insult. But yeah, the story it is that you are a prince that's about to get married. You are a prince named Jerry, but your brother Tom recruits an evil wizard to turn you into a ball of slime. And then Tom and the wizard take over the kingdom and cause chaos, while you, Jerry, have to rescue your princess and the kingdom. In other words, this is basically a story between two rival brothers named Tom and Jerry. Her. But you don't know this because Smart Ball does not tell you this. The original game, which is called Jerry Boy, by the way, Jerry Boy tells you all this story. If you watch Game Center CX, Arino actually does play Jerry Boy, and you actually do get to see the lore of Smart Ball. Jerry, get it? Because jelly. Oh, yeah. That's why it's so fun to have you around, JP. But seriously speaking, 1 star for Smart Ball. Because it's not a fun game. Next, Yakuza Kiwami. I think I credit this... Yeah, but does it count when it's the... It still counts. It still absolutely counts. Because they wouldn't have named your enemy Tom if it didn't. But next, Yakuza Kiwami. I credit this game as the one game that made me comfortable with hearing my voice in videos. This and another game later on. But this was the first one. For my playthrough of Yakuza Kiwami, I only focused on the Majima Everywhere mode. Oh, man. Majima Everywhere mode is one of the greatest games I have ever played. The Yakuza franchise, the Like a Dragon franchise is so fun, so silly, so not a 100% dramatic, surreal. The Majima Everywhere mode itself, 5 stars. The rest of the game, I'd hover between 4 and 3 stars. So, I'm gonna put Yakuza Kiwami in 4 stars. Because you have to go through a bunch of mundane story nonsense just to experience all of Majima Everywhere. And even parts of Majima Everywhere are a bit grindy, but it is so damn fun. I hesitate to spoil any of it. It's just that fun. It is Majima. Yep, absolutely. It is Majima at his most chaotic. His most chaotic Kiryu-chan vibe. You will never get a more chaotic side of Majima than in Yakuza Kiwami. It is amazing. Next, Phantasy Star End of the Millennium, or Phantasy Star 4. It's why later Yakuza lost its craziness, because the plot removed Majima. Those bastards. How dare they? But yeah, Phantasy Star. This was my original plan for JRPG July. For my very first JRPG July. But I delayed it in favor of playing Terranigma and Secret of Evermore. Phantasy Star End of the Millennium. This is gonna sound weird at first. Especially with the rating I give it. Phantasy Star, I am not a fan of how they named the spells and all the attacks that your party can do. It is so damn confusing. And the combo attacks that you can do, not a fan of it. It is very confusing. However, I am willing to forgive all that because for the Sega Genesis, Phantasy Star 4 is an incredible JRPG. Genesis, not quite known for their JRPGs. They didn't have a lot of it, especially compared to the Final Fantasies and the Dragon Quests and Chrono Trigger. But it is exactly as JP said, Sega's greatest exclusive RPG franchise, and Phantasy Star 4, way at the top of that list. I have to give it 5 stars. Oh, right over here. 5 stars. Only because for the Genesis, if you're into RPGs, you honestly cannot do better than Phantasy Star 4. You honestly cannot do better than End of the Millennium. The music is amazing. The way the story is told is impressive for a cartridge. Exactly. Yes. Some of the boss designs are great. Oh, then the final battle. The final battle designs. Amazing. It is an incredible game. I am willing to forgive how confusing the spells are, because Phantasy Star 4 is just that great. And led by a team of women. Thumbs up. Also, after 3, you can forgive the battle system. You know what? I'm gonna confess to you guys. Phantasy Star 4 is the only Phantasy Star game I've played from start to finish. I tried Phantasy Star 2, didn't finish it, and I've never played 3 before. Oh wait, actually I take that back. I've played the Master System Phantasy Star 1. I've played 2. I've never played 3 before. 3 looks fun though. 3 looks fun. And I wanted to try and get through 2, but I just couldn't do it for whatever reason. But 4 is just great. It is fun all around. Next, SNK Arcade Classics Volume 1. This was technically the first game that I actually streamed live on Twitch. Well, technically the first game ever would be King of Monsters, which was in this compilation. Basically, I just streamed the fighting games that were in this collection. King of Monsters, World Heroes, Samurai Showdown, Art of Fighting, and King of Fighters 94. 1 star because SNK is still owned by the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Next! WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. This was at the time when I was... Yeah, that's going to be my big hot take right there. I don't care. I don't care about any nostalgia for SNK. It's still owned by the Prince of Saudi Arabia. I'm not looking past that. And now Capcom's pulling an SNK, making Street Fighter their King of Fire. Well, I mean, with all the properties they have, they might as well. I mean, I don't see Final Fight going anywhere. If only they would integrate rival schools into Street Fighter. They just need to do that. And then all will be balanced in the universe. But yeah, SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. This was my choice for sports game because technically wrestling is a sport. And this was also at the time where I discovered Up Up Down Down's General Manager series. I wanted to try that, and bunnycartoon was a gracious sport in trying that mode with me. And yet somehow she kicked my ass in GM mode. bunnycartoon, who is unfortunately cursed with the knowledge of wrestling by living with me, beat me, the one that's been watching wrestling since 1999. Didn't Akira join? I think she joined. Yeah, she joined Street Fighter V. She was one of the last DLC characters. But rival schools in Street Fighter 6. Come on now. Rival schools and Dudley. Rival schools and Dudley. That's what I asked for in Street Fighter 6 now. Hi, Laura Gami. Thanks for stopping by. Glad to see you. Thank you for joining and helping me celebrate all these games, wonderful question mark games that I played. But yeah, WWE SmackDown 2007. Well, any wrestling game really would be 3 stars because it's for a very specific target audience. And I'll just leave it at that.
No, I know nothing. I still win.
Yeah, we already established that. We already established that you beat me in the game. Yeah. We absolutely did.
I'm the champ.
Yeah, Bunny is technically the champion of General Manager mode in this home, somehow. You can hear her gremlin laughing in the background right now. Some people are just magic with the book. Laragami says that right there. So moving on. Next, Monster Party. This freaking game.
Again, I'm the champion.
Yes, you are the general manager. The general manager.
No, I'm the champion of Monster Prom.
No, Monster Party.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. We're not doing Monster Prom. I'm sorry. Monster Prom is technically episode 101.
You're right.
So we have to wait until I celebrate episode 200 for Monster Prom to be added to the tier list. But I'm talking about Monster Party, the Nintendo game platformer where everything is freaky. Freaky and spooky. Burpman says hi.
Hi.
Bunny says hi. Mitty, don't pick on me. I'm not picking on anybody. Just Bunny. Monster Party. A very interesting game. Spooky nothing. It's weird. It is... Yeah, it's... Yeah, I got 2 stars. It is... Well, the whole thing is weird. Spooky... I really don't know what to say about it, honestly. It is not a terrible game, but not the best game. Exactly. All games made by human have some degree of craziness. Yeah, all these bosses are just references to various horror tropes, including Michael Jackson doing the Thriller dance. Some parts of it are very difficult. There is one level that you really cannot complete easily without looking it up on GameFAQs. So 2 stars. Next, Later Alligator. This game is amazing. Phenomenal. Wonderful. And this was actually a game that was a very last-minute addition to my lineup. I had something else planned. I was going to play another H game, Runaway City, and I even recorded some of it. But then I deleted what I recorded for Runaway City because there was some questionable things that even I could not stomach. So I quickly deleted the game, quickly deleted all of the footage that I recorded, but I was struggling to find a visual novel type deal. Enter Later Alligator, which not quite really a visual novel, but I skirted around the visual novel rules. Basically, screw it. I wanted to play Later Alligator because my good friend Rachel, Sporadic Erratic, had been talking up a storm about it, and she says one of the funniest, greatest games ever, and she is not wrong. 5 stars, Later Alligator. It is funny, it is silly, the animation is amazing, the mini games that you could play, amazing. There is even an actual honest-to-God Majima character in this game. Definitely worth checking out. And then I end 2019 with Sam & Max Hit the Road. Another fun, wonderful adventure-style game that I have to give 5 stars to as well. With all the respect in the world to Telltale's Sam & Max games, the LucasArts Sam & Max Hit the Road game is nothing short of incredible. I would give anything to have my own Majima in real life. Don't we all? And that's another reason why I love the Majima Everywhere mode in Yakuza Kiwami, because Kiryu basically gets his own Majima in real life, whether he likes it or not. I mean, you have to rate that to that high, Mitty, or Max will break your bones. Yeah, exactly. I cannot put Hit the Road any lower than 5. 5 has to be it. And Bunny would also scream at me if I rated one of her favorite games ever less than 5. But I genuinely enjoyed Sam & Max Hit the Road. It is fun. The puzzles are everywhere from hard to easy, but all across creative and silly. With one of my favorites being the Ball of Twine puzzle. 2019 is done. And then we move on to a wonderful, wholesome Nothing bad happened at all year 2020. Yep, totally wholesome year that year was 2020. I begin 2020 year with the Atlas platformer Rockin' Cats, also known in Japan as New York Yankees. NY Yankees. Rockin' Cats was a very fun platformer. And very creative use of the genre Jew. A hidden gem of the NES. Yes, it is very much a hidden gem of the NES. And a hidden gem of Atlas, too. That cover, yes. There were some very crappy NES covers back in the day, but Rockin' Cats had a very silly one. And the music. The music in the game, great. Cat Hobo, best hobo. Yeah, every stage is basically a NES platformer interpretation of a TV genre. Also, I love the Zoomers react to the game is, wait, the Persona guys? That's right! The Persona guys made this game! And honestly, I would play this Rockin' Cats over Persona. I mean, Persona's fun and all, but I can't deal with the time restriction mechanics. But yeah, 5 stars. Every stage is based on a TV genre, and each level ends with you rescuing the girl from the boss's minions. It is charming. Next, Arcade Spirits. My sort of first dating sim. Well, no, it's not really a dating sim. It's another visual novel with romance elements. But what makes Arcade Spirits so great is how it encourages a lot of romance options, where the protag can't see his friend through a mustache. Exactly. Nitro, you were so blind. How could you? How could you not recognize Ashley? I think that was the beginning of me wanting to retire the Nitro character right there. But yeah, Arcade Spirits. There is romance, but the game tells you from the beginning, hey, you know, you don't have to play this game for romance. You could just find a best friend. Because not everybody is into romance. Not everybody is into sex. You could just have a good time with a friend. And the whole game takes place in an alternate universe where the big game crash of the 80s never happened. And you work at an arcade shop and you meet all these interesting characters. You could have a gay relationship, you could have a straight relationship, you could have no relationship at all, and the game is still encouraging about that. It's not going to judge you. It doesn't judge your romantic preferences. I will give it 4 stars, though. A little bit of the writing, kind of meh, off and on, but overall, still a great visual novel experience. I would definitely recommend it if you haven't played it yet. and the voice acting they got for this game is really, really good, too. I mean, Stephanie Sheh is in the game as well. You could date Stephanie Sheh. Oh, shut up, ads. I don't give a crap. No, I don't have an ad blocker. I'm lazy. Okay. I think I see that the chat wants to talk about Xenogears. We're gonna talk about Xenogears, and I'm also gonna turn on the light because it is really dark in here all of a sudden. So let's see what the chat has to say. The game series Monolith Soft forgot. The Grandpappy of Xenoblade. Can't deny the game is a flawed experience, especially the second half, but all the rest is a masterpiece. One of Mitsuda's best works. Yes, it is one of Yasunori Mitsuda's best works. It is so... The music all around incredible. The mech design, incredible. The characters, incredible. The story, yeah. We've all heard of how the game ended up. The first disc, a nice experience, good time, good pacing. Second disc, so rushed, so condensed. When I recorded this game, I basically summarized all of disc 2 up until the final battle in 20 minutes. I did that. I did a little montage summarizing disc 2 because I could not bring myself to record the whole thing. I did not have time. Yeah, Xenogears was supposed to be a pitch for Final Fantasy VII, but they didn't want to do that. The story is, I saw Evangelion once. It's interesting, but there's no way I can call this a 5-star experience. This was supposed to be a fun... Yeah. Too edgy for the franchise. Yep, too edgy. All that good stuff. Still, somehow a great game, but the story... Yeah. Yeah. It could have been so much more. They just didn't have enough time and resources to flesh it out the way they wanted to. And the way we were given Disc 2, it was the only choice they had to release the game. Otherwise, the whole game would have ended on a cliffhanger. How Disc 1 ended is how the entire game would have ended. But that wasn't gonna happen. Next, Monster Hunter World Iceborne. It was nice to go back to Monster Hunter World and to play the DLC for that, the expansion. So if 3 was a 5-star, how does World rank? Oh, the expansion specifically. If 3 was a 5-star. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what you mean by if 3 was a 5-star. Yeah, I'm ranking Iceborne, just Iceborne here. And I'm gonna put that in 3, actually, ironically. Because Iceborne took it a little too far with some of those difficulty spikes. And a lot of what Iceborne... Nah, I only have one Monster Hunter in the 5-star. I have Monster Hunter World, and then I have Monster Hunter Freedom Unite in 3 stars. And now I have Iceborne in 3 stars, because some of those bosses, too intense, a little unfair. Even when you're playing against other people, it's hard. And a lot of what Iceborne had to offer, including the free updates to Iceborne, they were locked behind the main story that I could not beat because it was too hard. So 3 stars. It's fine. It's cool. But I definitely would have been a lot happier if I only had access to the base game. Like JP says, I only played base world. You are lucky. I am jealous of you. I wish I had only played just a base world. Next, Bust-A-Groove. Like Ultraman, a game with a very limited replay value, but unlike Ultraman, Bust-A-Groove is great. The music is great, and the combo music fighting game mashup, great. I have to give it 4 stars. Bust-A-Groove is a lost classic in the rhythm genre. It absolutely is. Here in Latam, because of piracy, the second one is a freaking classic, like on par with DDR. Yeah. But I've never played the second one, but I've heard the music for the second one. I really should get around to playing the second one of these days. But the problem with that is, if I hook up the PlayStation to the computer, quote unquote, the game can get out of sync really quickly. But somehow I was able to work around that and beat Buster Groove the way that I did. Yeah, music rhythm games are a problem because it's not perfectly in sync unless you're playing it off a CRT, unfortunately. Oh, that was fixed on Menafin, just in case. Oh, good. Thank you for the heads up on that one. But yeah, when I was in middle school, I entered a Buster Groove contest, a little tournament, and I actually made it fairly far into it. I couldn't remember if I placed a third or fourth, but I wasn't eliminated in the first round. So yay me. Oh yeah. So I've heard of this. Ooh, PS1 core. Oh, okay. I actually have a PS1. I believe I have a PS1 game that I plan on recording later this year. Do I? Yes, I do. I might look into it when I record Mortal Kombat Mythologies later this year. I always thought the idea that the franchise is kind of obscure in the US. It, unfortunately, is kind of obscure in the US. Very unfortunate. But the game is so fun, though. More people need to know about it. Alright, next. The only Nintendo 64 game I have recorded at all. And if I'm going to record any Nintendo 64 game, I'm glad it was Diddy Kong Racing. One of the best racing games ever. The best racing game on the Nintendo 64. Diddy Kong Racing, the title that screams, Nintendo, you can give Mario Kart a story. And also, Diddy Kong Racing is extra special to me as an editor, writer for all of MDisk because Diddy Kong Racing was for the longest time the only game that was a main feature in my podcast, my video primer series, Gauntlet, and Silver Age. It was for the longest time, and it was the first game that was featured in every single project that I have done under the MDisk name. That's what makes Diddy Kong Racing that special. It's worth talking about, it's worth discussing, it's worth writing about, and it absolutely is worth playing. The story mode was revolutionary for the genre. Fun fact, you met David Wise in person? And here I am doing a dumb little tier stream. I'm doing this stupid little tier stream and you met David Wise? Holy shit, that is incredible. That is amazing. I love David Wise's work. Yasunori Mitsuda is great. Yuzo Koshiro, I love David Wise too. He's right up there. And fun fact, as great as the Chrono Trigger music is, my favorite Super Nintendo score, Diddy's Conquest, Donkey Kong Country 2. So good. Yes, he was here. Nice. I hope he was at least a good, fun, charming person when you met him. Did you get any autographs? Yeah. Diddy's Conquest, one of my favorite scores ever, and his work on Diddy Kong Racing, great too. So, I bet you could guess how many stars Diddy Kong Racing is gonna get. He was super chill. Yeah, I get that impression. He seems like a very chill kind of guy. Diddy Kong Racing absolutely gonna... Excuse you? Tier? Okay, 5 stars, absolutely. And again, to this day, the only Nintendo 64 game I have recorded. Probably because Nintendo 64 games are hard to play on anything but a Nintendo 64 controller. That might change, though. Alright. Now, I joke about 2020. Oh, absolutely nothing happened. Nothing. But yeah, we all know it. 2020 was a very cursed year. I had, before COVID, the pandemic happened, I had 3 completely different games planned than the next 3 games that I'm going to talk about. For budgeting reasons, because I did not know what was going to happen. I mean, everything worked out fine in the end, but the next 3 games that I'm going to talk about were not what I originally planned. But I think they worked out for the better. We're going to start with Mega Man Battle Network 3. The Battle Network series. It is very, very fun. I like the Battle Network series. Granted, I've only played the first 4 Battle Network games. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I never played 5, 6, or the ones that came after that. 2 and 3 were way up there at the top of my list. I loved 2 for its story, and I loved 3 for all the post-game content. And some of the music was pretty good, too. And I'm gonna give Battle Network 3. 3 is a good choice, with the big bad as the slime devil, yes! The final battle theme for Battle Network 3, probably my favorite out of all the Battle Network games. Battle Network 6 is my second. Battle Network 6 looked very interesting, I'll admit. I kind of fell out of Battle Network, but 6 looked cool. Mega Man Battle Network 2, or as I call it, Mega Damn Battle... I totally understand what you mean by that. I understood that reference. Ah, man. If I could play another Battle Network again, it would definitely be the damn Battle Network 2. But I would, if I were to play 5 changes genres to SRPG. Oh, interesting. Interesting. See, talk like this is just another reason why I really want to get that Battle Network collection, because I did have fun with the Battle Network games, from what I remember, but I never got a chance to play 5 and 6. Or the other ones. So good. Next, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, PlayStation 1 version. We're immediately gonna get to it. 5 stars, and I will tell you why. Wait, what other game do you get to rap battle a guy to get a bottle of whiskey to trap a deadly spider on an airplane? Exactly! Also, 5 has Colonel from X. Yep, 5 sure did have Colonel from X. Excuse me. Ah! I really do need a freaking ad blocker here, don't I? Blah, 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 blah. You know what? I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change the music. Meh. Wait. Hold on. Wait, why am I doing this? I actually have something downloaded for this very reason. But I guess while it's loading, I could talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The fighting game made with the same engine that was used to make Street Fighter 3. It tells the entire Stardust Crusaders arc through, you know, fighting, one-on-one 2D fighting. You can play as different characters from Stardust Crusaders. But it goes beyond that. It's not just fighting. It's also a shmup. It's also card game. It's also a quick time game. There's also a fortune teller in this game. A fortune telling mechanic in this game. It is one of the best It is one of the best fighting game story modes that I have honestly experienced in a game. Also, one of 2 JoJo games Capcom won't let you own. Exactly. It is, exactly. But we have a copy of it. So, that came in handy for me. And retro resale prices bad with all caps. Yep, retro game prices bad in all caps. I avoided the PS1 version because I had a Dreamcast, but years later I saw the extras and I liked it. Yeah. One of the main problems fighting games have is a good single player mode, because I mean, fighting games are fun to play, but sometimes, there we go. Sometimes you just gotta play by yourself. And Smash Brothers sort of fixes this. The more recent Mortal Kombat games fixes this, and Street Fighter 6 fixes it with the World Tour mode. I saw a loose Dreamcast disc of JoJo's for $100. I was a fool to have waited this long to discover JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game. I have the game too on CPS3. Oh, on a time it was affordable. Nice. Nice find. Oh, and Bunny, Burtman met David Wise.
Wow.
Yeah. That's still cool. I'm not over that.
That's awesome.
Okay, next. This one is going to take a bit to explain. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 Complete. It's not Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's Sonic 3 Complete. And Knuckles. What it is a fan-made hack, but that lets you customize the experience. It lets you choose between playing just Sonic 3, just Sonic and Knuckles, or both, but in a way that is more streamlined. That is more streamlined than the actual Sonic 3 and Knuckles. For example, Sonic 3 Complete, it lets you play through Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but you also get to do the final boss from Sonic 3 before it transitions to Sonic and Knuckles. You also get the original level order, like a Flying Battery Zone, officially released in Sonic and Knuckles. You can move that to right after the Carnival Zone. You also get to choose between keeping the Michael Jackson music or the music that replaced the Michael Jackson stuff. Oh, yes, please do. Please send a video. Please send a video. You can also decide, hey, do I want Sonic 3 music? Do I want to keep this music for the title screen, the Supersonic theme? Or do I want Supersonic 2 music? This mod lets you do that. See, Sega welcomes fan-made Sonic. Nintendo will sue your ass for using their property. Exactly. That's why we have Sonic Mania. Because they are for the fans. I think that was the idea of those Sonic games since day one, but obviously cartridge space was an issue. Yeah, cartridge space was an issue, and Sonic 3, Sega also had that deal with McDonald's, so they couldn't afford to delay the games, so they had to release Sonic 3 in February, you know, because McDonald's reasons. But Sonic 3 Complete gets a 5-star if it'll let me move it up there. Come on. Come on, there we go. Yeah, we're getting a bunch of 5 stars right here. Oh, wait, no. 4 stars, 4 stars. Yeah. 4 stars, because... Yeah, you know what? Screw it. 5 stars. I changed my mind. 5 stars. Because I can't think of a reason why I would want it on 4 stars. Next. Addams Family, Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt, Super Nintendo. There's only 2 good things about this game. The level design, and you can play the game in any order you like. Everything else about this game is horrible, awful, terrible, shitty 1-star. Is bad. Is very bad. It's also difficult. It's bad. Next, Death and Taxes. AKA, I want to decide who lives and who dies. The game. From the same people that made Passport Please. I think it's Passport Please. Yeah, Passport... No. Papers, Please. Papers, Please. The people that made Papers, Please made Death and Taxes. Your death, and you get to choose. You get to choose who lives and who dies. You're handed a description of people and what they do, and you can choose to let them live, or you can kill them. Okay. Some of the people that you can kill one of the Flophouse podcast people if you wanted. You can let the scientist that made the human centipede live if you wanted. You can let Karens live as well. You can, put the link in the chat. You can put the link on the chat. You can also dress up Death if you want to, because why not? That's about it, though. Not that much to the game. Just, I want to decide who lives and who dies. I'll give it 2 stars. Someone edited the whole thing on that video. So yeah, oh well. Maybe after I finish 2020 we could take a skim at it, take a look at it real fast. Yeah, last game of 2020. Space Quest 4, Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers. LucasArts wasn't the only company that made banger adventure games. Sierra also made some banger adventure games as well. I actually discovered this one from my childhood friend, Roger Wilco. Roger Wilco, exactly. Yeah, the best thing about that game is the narration by Gary Owens. Gary Owens, who some of you might have heard as the very first voice actor of Space Ghost in the 70s cartoon, he narrated everything that you did, and it's amazing. There is one joke, though. There is one little reference. There's one thing in Roger Wilco that did not age well. Can be viewed as a very transphobic thing. It did not age well at all. Gary Owens is amazing. Hello, Lost Wolf in Space Quest 4. Yes, Gary Owens is great in Space Quest 4. But other than the one thing that did not age well, this game is great. The part where you get into the space station mall, where you could play the arcades, you can make the hamburgers, it is great. The meta humor for Space Quest 4 is also fantastic. You can even crash the game intentionally if you wanted to. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. You know which joke I'm talking about. But yeah, Roger Wilco 4 stars. Moving on to 2021 with The Quest of Kai. And literally the only reason why I wanted to play this game was because of Game Center CX. And how much Arino struggled with this game. I wanted to see if I can do it quicker than he did. See, I feel bad, but as a kid, I never played the PC adventure. Neither did I. I was the console gamer. I only had the the Nintendo systems and PlayStation. PC games, PC adventure games, I did not really have access to those, so don't feel bad. Don't feel bad at all. No, it wasn't easy for everybody to get it, especially back then. I absolutely love this game. You know what, this game? No. I get you. There are some, like, I think I said this earlier, there are some difficult games out there that are genuinely fun. And then there are some difficult games that aren't so fun. I feel like the best bet would be to make this a 3-star game. Because it really depends on how much you're willing to punish yourself just to attempt to beat the game. It is fun, but it's also, oh man, an experience. Since you watched Game Center DX, I guess I'm assuming you mean CX, did you play Retro Game Challenge? Yes, I played the second one. It is down there, the very bottom row. It's the second one. I don't know if I'm out. It's right here. Retro Game Challenge 2. It is there. My smile and optimism. Ah, yep. Quest of Kai, the game that created the My Smile and Optimism Gone meme. Yes, my smile and optimism, mine was still intact too. I managed to clear the game. I beat all 100 stages. Damn, maybe I should have saved this game for episode 100 and not Donkey Kong. But no regrets. Donkey Kong is still a fun game. But I'm not here to talk about that right now. Next, Starlight Shores. Oh my god, this game. This was another one where I was thinking, okay, I don't know what to play. I don't know, dating sim. Okay, this game, something about island adventure, romantic island adventure. Yeah. Okay, I'll try it. The characters look cute, great, wonderful. Holy crap, this game is phenomenal. The characters are great. The story is short. You get to play it in one sitting, which could be a good thing or a negative for some people, but for me, it's a good thing. And the writing on this game, so great, and it's hard to articulate. The writer's name is Sam, and she has this writing style, which makes everyone seem and come across as contemporary instead of otome, waifu, husbando, yada yada, cliche trope type bullshit deal. Sam's characters are written so well that when I played this game, I was just caught. I was compelled. I had to see everything all the way through. I beat all the routes. I wanted to beat all the routes because I wanted to explore all these characters. That came out wrong. I wanted to metaphorically explore all these characters. And the game teaches you to be empathetic towards everyone so that you get the best endings. I mean, there's no real bad ending per se. Well, there kind of is, but it's not a terrible ending. But empathy rewards you. And Starlight Shores was also the game that made me kind of come out of a shy shell and made me more open to going to indie developers, not just Sam, and go, wow, I think your game is wonderful. Wow, I think your game is great. Maybe I should join their Discord if that's an option. And yeah. So, 5 stars. Blue-haired girl that you saw, Lena. Her route put me on such a roller coaster ride of emotions that it made me feel almost as emotional as I did when I beat Terranigma. Is this an Ultimate game? Not really an Ultimate game. It is a short visual novel where you are on an island with your childhood best friend and her best friend and some of your other friends, and depending on the choices you make will determine which route you end up on and who you spend the rest of your island getaway with by yourself, one-on-one. It could end on a romantic note with one of the girls, or it could end with everybody being happy, which is what I was saying earlier. Empathy gives you the best endings, or other people can be paired. And I'll just leave it at that. Yes, next. Sigma Star Saga. From Way Forward. The Shantae people. The River City Girls people. They made this hot mess of a game. Which I would personally describe as what would happen if someone took the entire plot of Martin Scorsese's The Departed and turned it into a Saturday anime on the Sci-Fi Channel film. It is predictable. The story is kind of bizarre, silly, stupid, whatever you want to call it. And the gameplay combines JRPG with side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. For real, it does. But it does so in a way that feels incredibly grindy, and there's a lot of back and forth, and the story is so weird. So, I have to give it 1 star. It is such a mess. Yeah, I mean, waifus are cute and all, but, you can't win them all. And you have to beat the game more than once to get the true ending. Where you get all the waifus, and I'm, meh on that. Next, Little Nemo the Dream Master for the Nintendo. This game is not easy. This game really pushes you to the limit. It starts off innocent enough where you go through these set of levels where you collect keys to escape, but then the last level basically says screw all that. You're getting a magic wand and you're going to use it to murder enemies, and in some of the hardest parts of the entire game, it throws a lot at you all at once. Holy shit, I love this game. More classic Capcom. Yeah, it's all right. It's a nice platformer, and the music, especially in the last level. The last level music is some of the best I've ever heard from Capcom. The screw you part is faithful to the movie. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna give it 3 stars though. Because it depends on how much you're invested in Capcom platformers and how much you're willing to push yourself, will determine how much you enjoy it in the end. Not a bad game, but Capcom made better platformers, in my opinion. Next. Wait a second. Is that Super Metroid and Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past in one? It sure is. It is the Super Metroid A Link to the Past randomizer, where you play a game, all the items are randomized across both games, and you have to go everywhere and find the right items to help you beat both games. This is something I discovered while watching Games Done Quick, and of course, me being me, I had to try it. It is a crazy-ass hack, but also one of the most fun streams I've done. So, I want to play this game again when I have the time. I just want to see if I can do it again. But I recognize that nowadays people are like, Super Metroid, not as fun as future Metroids, or Link to the Past, it's alright, but they've done better Zelda games out there. You do that, and then you combine the two games at once, and it's kind of unfortunately, a hit or miss. But for me, it's a hit. I just hesitate to recommend this to anybody, because 1, you have to know Super Metroid. 2, you have to know A Link to the Past. 3, you have to be willing to play both games at the same time. And 4, you have to accept the fact that items are scattered everywhere. So, 3 stars. For that reason alone. Me, personally, I would say, yeah, go for it. You should try it. It's great. But not everybody is into the idea. Happy 30th Super Metroid. Yes, Super Metroid is 30 years old. Super Metroid is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. But nowadays, I see people like, Super Metroid's not that great. You know, Metroid Fusion, though, that's much better. Metroid Fusion is great. I'm always going to have a soft spot for Super Metroid. Randomizers are good. They are good. I need to play more of them. I wish I had the time to play more of them, but I had to have the time to play through randomizers of two of my favorite Super Nintendo games. Next, Fire Pro Wrestling World. This was my game for Community Game-Along's fashion theme, because wrestling is so fashionable. And with it being Fire Pro Wrestling World, this is the closest that we in the States will get to an official New Japan Pro Wrestling game. Because much of the roster in Fire Pro is all New Japan guys. Well, New Japan guys at the time. You got Tanahashi, you got Okada, you got Kenny Omega, who actually did record some voice lines for his character. But then you also got some OCs in there. And if you're willing to pay extra, you get wrestlers from the Stardom promotion. If you know Ocarina of Time well enough, then that randomizer is fairly robust at this point. I have actually thought about trying the Ocarina of Time randomizer. That and the Super Mario RPG randomizers. I want to try those two, on top of wanting to play through the Zelda Metroid randomizer again. But yeah, Fire Pro Wrestling World. It is a fun wrestling game. Too bad a lot of it is locked behind a paywall, though. A lot of expensive DLC that doesn't go on sale often, including one that gives you a story mode written by Suda51. Because one of Suda51's first forays into gaming was writing a story mode for a Super Nintendo Fire Pro game, which ends horribly. That story mode's good ending, extremely tragic. I'll let you look that one up. But Fire Pro Wrestling World, I have to give it 3 stars. It's a fine wrestling game. Too much of it is behind a paywall, though. Next, Legend of Mana, the PlayStation 1 version. I had never played Legend of Mana before up until that point, but this was a fun game. I love the idea that the different stories in the game that you experience are set alone, standalone. And you can experience all these mini arcs in any order that you want, sort of. And it's all around good time. The art is good, and Yoko Shimomura's work is incredible. The only thing that stops me from giving this 5 stars is the fact that how to progress through the game, figuring out how to beat the game proper, it's really tough without a guide. It's almost too tough without a guide, in my opinion anyway. So, for that reason alone, we gotta give it 4 stars. Now, I'm gonna take another bathroom break again and another drink break again. We are almost there. We are almost at the halfway point. The halfway point of this tier list is Oregon Trail. The Legend of Mana is extremely beautiful, but yeah, it's a weird game at times. But you know what? He got hard. The next game, Pulseman. Another Game Freak game before Pokemon became popular. I like Pulseman way more than Smart Ball, aka Jerry Boy. The plot of this game is so wild. Wonder if I could find a actual description of the story rather than attempt to say it. A game that I hate, it wasn't released here. Yeah, yes, a lot of these Genesis games, these great games, they were very picky about what part of the world it got in. So basically, this is the actual plot of Pulseman. A scientist created a girl in this online world. And then the scientist inserts himself into this computer and fell in love with his own waifu that he made. And they had a baby named Pulseman. Oh, but here's where it gets weirder. The scientist went insane being in this computer world and became the main antagonist of this entire game. And it is up to you, Pulseman, who was born from the love of a mad scientist and his waifu, to save everything. Alien Soldier says hi. Oh, we will get the Alien Soldier. We will get the Alien Soldier very soon. Hopefully sooner than later. Yeah, that's a Pulseman. Very tricky platformer, but way better than Smart Ball. Having said that, though, 3 stars. Next, Super Ledge Hop Double Laser. Okay. This was supposed to be Sugimori, born to be a Sega fan, lived to be a Nintendo worker. Yep, pretty much. So, I was in the middle of playing a game, Risk System. It's on there, but I had intended to play record Risk System much earlier than this. I played through it, and then the game kept crashing in the middle of the game. I reported this crash, but I was stuck with a game that I had to play for Smuptember theme. So I found a Super Ledge Hop for $1 on itch.io, and it's actually a fun game. It sort of plays like a much more hyper-focused, sped-up Robotron, like a multi-directional top-down shooter, but much more fast-paced. And you get to kill a bunch of cops and politicians. It's great. And the character that you play is colorblind, so the color aesthetic is all different shades of blue and purple. But yeah, for $1, I'd buy that for $1. I would highly recommend it. 4 stars. Yep, the second best ACAB game that I have on this entire tier list. We all know what number 1 is. Next, PT. Yes, the PT. I actually found a way to play and record PT. Through extremely convoluted ways, mind you. But it's there. There is a Gauntlet episode where I go through all of PT. We've all heard it. We all know the story. PT was supposed to be a playable teaser for Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro produced Silent Hill game called Silent Hills. It got canceled. And then Konami totally scrubbed PT off the face of the planet. Even to people, even people who had it downloaded couldn't play it. Unless you went through all this, couldn't download it anymore. I should say, couldn't download it. Even if they had it in their download history, unless it was already installed in the hard drive, you couldn't download it. Konami went crazy, yeah, exactly. But I found a way. There is a copy of PT in my PS4 installed right now. It is a terrifying experience, and now they can never work with Japanese game devs ever again. True, true, true. I would give PT 5 stars if I could, but because of how damn near impossible it is to play, I cannot. I have to give it 4 stars. It is one of the most terrifying experiences in gaming, but the only way you can experience it is through YouTube videos. Or, you know, you could watch me play it. Yeah. It is tragic. It is... The scariest thing about PT is the fact that you can't play it. Konami doesn't want you to play it. The only way you can play it is through manipulating the internet connection on the PS4 and your own computer. It's crazy. But anyway, next, Risk System. Now, it is at this point where the glitch that I had reported got fixed. I was playing the itch.io version of Risk System. Now, Risk System is both one of the hardest side-scrolling shoot-em-ups I have ever played, and simultaneously one of the most accessible side-scrolling shooters I've ever played. Because the only things you have to worry about is the directional button, up, down, left, right, and the shooting button, whatever that's going to be. That's it. The only way you can power up is if you put your ship so close to the enemy bullets that it causes you to create a massive bomb attack. And Mock Dent is in this game. This was Mock Dent's first major voice role. He plays one of the bosses. Yeah, Vintage Henshin. Mock Dent. Yeah, that guy. But yeah, as I said, it's a very accessible, but also very frustratingly difficult game. Having said that, though, 3 stars. And you rage quit after 1 round. I didn't rage quit after round 1. I rage quit after round 4 because round 4 was glitched. Nobody could play the itch.io version of round 4, and that was until I reported it. And also, hello, Sailor Mikey. I'm sure at this point you would be flooding me with hydrates right now, but I got water, and it already rained a lot over here anyway. Good to see you, Mikey. Next, Lone Survivor. I forced myself to record this because I actually found a limited run physical copy of the game in the wild at a used bookstore. Yeah. I got it, and I committed myself to playing this game for Horror Game Oct. Just out of principle. Basically, Lone Survivor is a weird 2D Silent Hill-esque game. I originally played it on the PlayStation Vita, couldn't beat it, so when I got my copy of Lone Survivor, I forced myself to record it on the console. I beat it, but it's my main problem with this game is it forces you to conserve your items, your ammo, because I don't know if they fixed it, or if they patched it, or if I just suck at it, but it is fairly easy to get soft blocked in this game. Only because you don't know how to conserve your stuff. And there are multiple endings. You have to play through it multiple times, but you're always running into the risk of getting soft block. Did it come with the Butt Ice Penguin? No, it did not come with the Butt Ice Penguin. Nope. So I'm going to give Lone Survivor 2 stars. Ah, we haven't had 2 stars in a while. Next, Tales from Windy Meadow. This is a visual novel, but everything looks like it was drawn in a 32-bit style. It's a 32-bit visual novel. Now, exactly like Heaven Will Be Mine, It almost feels like the choices are limited, but even worse so because it feels like it ends the same with minor differences depending on your choices. But I will give them credit for making everything look 32-bit, though, maybe? 2 stars. Next, the Oregon Trail. Oh, what a fun game that was, and I cannot wait to see all the dysentery jokes. Yeah, Oregon Trail, making educational games fun. What can I say about Oregon Trail that hasn't been said already? I've heard the Oregon Trail is a classic in American schools. Yep. We had Oregon Trail in our school computers when I was going through elementary school. That's how I discovered it in the 3rd grade during computer time. The teacher had put Oregon Trail in there. But that will never happen in this day and age. A 90s elementary school, yep, a 90s elementary school classic indeed. But now everything is replaced by Roblox. Yeah. But if you were there during my teacher appreciation stream last year, you will know that if you want to get your kids into video games through the computer, just go to PBS Kids. That's the easy way to do it. But yes, it is a classic in American schools, especially in the 90s. Well, maybe you could play Oregon Trail. I'm sure someone has found a way. I feel like with Roblox, it's like a Little Big Planet meets Minecraft, but crappier. And yet, kids love it. So, Oregon Trail ends my 2021. Now, I go to 2022, where I greatly expand my Gauntlet lineup to go beyond just community game-along games. 2022, I start with games. Never played Oregon Trail, but did play Amazon Trail. Oh, okay. Cool. Starting with 2022, I would pick 6 games that were released 30 years ago somewhere in the world. And one of those 6 games was Streets of Rage 2. Bare Knuckle 2. It has to get 5 stars. Because not only is it a great, not only is it a great, side-scrolling brawler, probably one of the best in its genre, but Yuzo Koshiro's work in, Streets of Rage 2. Some of the best in Genesis. 5 stars or Riot. Oh, no, we are not making Streets of Rage anything less than 5 stars. Streets of Rage 2 absolutely is 5 stars or Riot. The music is 6 stars. The music in Streets of Rage 2 is a 6-star experience. It just so happens to include a great game. These types of games are notoriously tough. But somehow Streets of Rage 2 has a great balance, making it not too difficult and not too easy. There we go. And let's see. Oh my god, this game. Brutal Mario. Super Kitiku Mario. A very infamous Japanese hack of Super Mario World, where you go through these interesting level changes, but you also fight bosses from Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, Donkey Kong Country, Romancing Saga, Kirby, Mega Man. It never finished. It's a very odd hack, but also very creative because it had some very cool level designs, legitimately cool level designs, but you can't play it all the way through. It never finished. You have to you have to download these different versions of the game just to experience the full game that we in the public actually got. I cannot give this hack anything higher than 2 stars. There are a few good custom choices in there, and depending on what version of Brutal Mario that you download, you get cool custom music. But yeah, there are better hacks out there, or you can just play Super Mario World as is. Next, True Love 95. I finally got it. I finally figured out how to play it and record it. The actual dating sim on the dating sims, out of all the dating sim themed games that I've played. It's basically Tokimeki Memorial if you've never played True Love. It's basically Tokimeki Memorial, but with sex scenes. That's a classic, no shame. It is a classic, yeah. All the women were cute, and this is totally not a high school game. It does not take place in high school. Yeah, it's fun, but some of the dialogue, yeah. Definitely not something you'd want to read out loud. Which I totally did. Yeah. 3 stars. Because, yes, Burpman is correct. It is a classic. But you have to really be into the whole dating sim genre. And you have to be willing to recognize that, yeah, you're basically going into an H game. There's a lot of nudity and a lot of sexual themes. And there's also some really bad shit in there, too. So, yeah, 3 stars. Next. Oh, okay. So, Nocturnal Illusion. I'd have to look that one up to see if I've played it or not. So, this next game is Corpse Pile's Open House. It was part of one of the 4 itch.io collection episodes that I did that was inspired by watching online Choo Choo and their itch.io investigation games. So for those episodes, I just picked one game out of each. Starting with Open House from Corpse Pile, the same people that made Bad Ben. What did I give this one? 3 stars. I feel like I shouldn't talk about this game because it's one of those games that you have to experience for yourself. The less you know, it's one of those the less you know about it, the better type games. Next, Wizards and Warriors Iron Sword 2. I liked this game growing up. It's not good, but it's fun somehow. The platforming, okay. Having to go around looking for things, not so fun. The bosses, kind of The final boss is absolute crap. Okay, I'm gonna have to drop out. Unfortunately, my mobile service decided to have a crappy... Boo! Boo your mobile device. And MIDI buffers are... Oh, no, that's not good. Alright, take it easy, JP. That power metal album, yes! This is Fabio, what you're looking at. Fabio, a very famous male model. And wow, yeah. Oh, and speaking of David Wise, he composed this game. There are a few good things about it, but all in all, not the best platformer experience, so 2 stars. Next, Alicia Dragoon, a collaboration between Game Arts and Gainax, aka the hardest game out of all the 100 games that I am tiering right now. Pugsley Scavenger Hunt was hard, but at least Pugsley Scavenger Hunt let you play any level in any order that you want. Elysia Dragoon, you're basically stuck. You're stuck with where you're at if you're struggling. It doesn't give you any options, and you only get one life in each game. It sucks. Yeah, I saw him in a lot of B movies from the 80s. And oh yeah, he was in Zoolander too. I think he was in the beginning of Zoolander as well. Yeah, Elysia Dragoon, 1 star. Even if it's Gainax, even if it's Game Arts, screw it. Next, let me make myself comfortable. Kirby's Dream Land, the first one. I wanted to play this one because I was curious to see how it compares to... Well, actually, no, I take that back. I wanted to see how the hard mode compared to the rest of the game, because Kirby's Dream Land was Masahiro Sakurai's way of making platformers accessible to all audiences. You beat Kirby's Dream Land, but you also unlock a hard mode. And I had to test myself to see how hard it truly was. Hard mode on Kirby's Dream Land is one of the hardest Kirby games you could play. The other thing that makes this game hard is Kirby's copy ability was not introduced yet. The copy ability was introduced in Kirby's Adventure, which, spoiler alert, I will be playing next year. But Kirby's Dream Land, 2 stars. It's not the best Kirby game, but there is a sense of accomplishment, and it is rewarding if you experience the hard version of it. Hard mode makes that game good for me. The normal warp mode is way too short. Yes, I agree 1,000% right there. Bertman with the hard truth right there. Hard mode makes that game good, but normal mode is way too short. It truly is. And the more Kirby games you've experienced, the shorter it is. The next game. It's one of those ASC2 itch.io games. This was one of the itch.io collection games. It's been interesting. Look forward to future dating sim streams, perchance. Farewell for today. Yes, farewell to you too, to Esquire. Well, I am thinking of planning on playing Arcade Spirits: The New Challengers later this year. Maybe if there's interest, I might stream that. I forgot the name of the game down there. UFO Text Quest by Tuesday Street. It plays like one of those classic text-based adventure games like Zork. Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. Like Zork, which you will see later. And there is nudity in this game. There is, honest to God, ASC2 nudity, and that amuses me. That is amusing to me. So, I'm giving it 3 stars. UFO Text Quest. The first game I played as MDi, Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube. Now, this was back when Nintendo lost a lot of fighting games. Yeah, they didn't really have many fighting games. They had Smash Brothers, but PlayStation, Dreamcast, and even Xbox, they had all the good traditional fighting games. So, for the GameCube, being able to get their own version of Soul Calibur 2 with Link, that was big. That was great. Great for them. Good for them. And, you know, also, Soul Calibur 2, very fun game. I have fond memories of Soul Calibur 2. I was in the arcade scene of the game here in my city. Lots of good memories. Yeah, fighting games in the arcades, they also give me the best memories. I definitely have to make this a 5-star game, because Soul Calibur 2, well, Soul Calibur 1 and 2, 5-star experiences. I really need to play more of these Soul Calibur games. Yeah, let's see. Next, Katana Zero. This game was actually gifted to me by my good friend Cricket of the Nerd Girl Thoughts blog. Also for Nintendo fans, Link was a big deal. Yep. Yeah, Soul Calibur 2 is still one of the best. Yeah, hard to argue that. There are not a lot of fighting games that I would say are better than Soul Calibur 2. Yeah, let's see. GameCube got Link, PlayStation 2 got Heihachi, and Xbox got Spawn. It would be interesting to play through Soul Calibur 2 as Spawn, but you know what? I'll take Link. But anyway, Katana Zero. That game, wild. The story is a wild experience. And the platforming was pretty good too. You're basically a wandering swordsman, and you have to act really fast to cut down your enemies, or else they will kill you quickly. Think of it as like a side-scrolling Hotline Miami. When Spawn was on the Xbox Soul Calibur 2, I was like, yeah, that makes sense because Xbox is the US Halo Bros console, Halo Bros console. Yeah, but that's true. Xbox really was the Halo Bros console. But yeah, hey, you know what? I love Halo. Halo is a fantastic game, but that's really all the Xbox had going for it at the time. Halo. Yeah, Katana Zero. Another 5-star experience. Really weird and interesting story. And there are some branching paths too. Like, depending on some of the choices that you make, will determine some items that you get, and will also determine who your final boss is. Halo and those Sega games that should be Dreamcast games. Yep. Sad face indeed. Hey, JP again. Next. Bucky O'Hare for the Nintendo. Oh my god. Man, we are just dropping banger after banger after banger here. 5 stars for that one. Bucky O'Hare from the NES. Otherwise, as I like to call it, the prototype treasure game. The same people that made Gunstar Heroes, the same people that made Alien Soldier, they made Bucky O'Hare for the Nintendo. It is one of the best platformers you could play on the game, on the console. And this was from Konami, and this was back when Konami was raking in all the money from the Ninja Turtle games. So, I guess like Capcom, Konami wanted to see what else they could do with media tie-ins. And Bucky O'Hare for the NES, probably, for me, Konami's best media tie-in on the Nintendo. Better than the Nintendo Ninja Turtle games, and a trillion times better than the Simpsons Konami games that they had. And it's a prototype treasure game. Because, like I said, a lot of people that made Bucky O'Hare, they moved on to form Treasure, and to give us great games like Gunstar Heroes and a half-decent game like Alien Soldier. The game is amazing, but it was kind of obscure game here because no one liked Bucky O'Hare. Me, I accidentally discovered Bucky O'Hare. I rented this one time at my local video store, and I thought, oh, this game was so fun. And then, at that same rental store, I saw that there apparently was a cartoon based off Bucky O'Hare. So I rented that as well. And trivia. Scott McNeil is in the game. Not in the game. Scott McNeil is in the Bucky O'Hare cartoon. He plays Deadeye. And if you ever enjoyed Scott McNeil performances, you will enjoy him and his fake Australian accent. Mate. Next, what's next? Oh, Secret Little Haven. Oh my god. This is a game, the Terra Nova devs call this style of visual novel interface dramas. Discovered Bucky O'Hare through this game. Yep, same. I also discovered Bucky O'Hare through this game as well. Such a great game. But Secret Little Haven, interface visual novel where you're playing a girl, a trans girl, through her perspective, and you are on her computer, which it takes place in the 90s. So, yep, you get to go through 90s internet forums, 90s fan pages. You get to talk to people through instant messenger. All about discovering identity while at the same time being a fan of this Magic Girl anime and trying to see this Magic Girl anime movie on a Saturday and dealing with your horrible transphobic dad. It's a very interesting game. And you get to actually write a fanfic in the game. So, Secret Little Haven, I'm gonna give it 3 stars because there are some things that I did not like about Secret Little Haven. There are some puzzles that you have to solve that strongly depend on how good you are at coding. If you're good at coding, then those puzzles will be easy. If you're not good at coding, then the puzzles will be very difficult. Everything else about the game is great, though. But I have to knock it down a few notches for some of the more difficult parts of the game. Next, On the Isles. It's another representative of my itch.io collection episodes. On the Isles makes you a news reporter, and your job is to intentionally scare the public into subscribing to your newspaper. Doesn't that sound familiar and timely, unfortunately? But the game is almost too short. There's really not that much going on for the game other than doing random words on sentences. So 2 stars. Next, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Some of the most difficult JRPG bosses I have ever experienced. Which might be my fault because I played through Kingdom Hearts 2 on the hardest difficulty. And I only did this because less requirements to getting the true post-game scenes. If you play the game on the hardest difficulty, then all you have to do is just beat all the secret bosses. Having said that, though, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, actually a very fun experience all around. A lot of extras, especially in the Final Mix version. And it does a lot of quality of life improvements over the first Kingdom Hearts game. So, 4 stars. Next, Elden Ring. I platinumed this game. I'm not trying to flex here, but I'm just giving you an idea of how invested I was in Elden Ring. This game is so fun. It's frustrating, but it's one of those games where frustrating meets fun. And it's one of the few games that actually makes the open world genre work and not feel so tedious. Some devs can do it, like this game, and then there are some devs that make the open world genre so extremely tedious, like Dragon Quest Inquisition. Hot take. But yeah, Elden Ring. I loved that game so much I had to play through the main story twice, and that's how I ended up with the platinum for the game. So, 5 stars for Elden Ring. Next, Animorphs. Game Boy Color Animorphs. Yes, I can't remember who said it, but yeah, they basically copied Pokemon. So, I am in the Discord of my good friend Bogus Meat Factory, and he does this video game draft league where him and some friends and myself, we all predict what game will get the highest average review from OpenCritic. And the one with the highest points wins the draft league for the year. During certain parts of the year, we would get checkpoints, and the person with the highest score at the time of the checkpoint gets to make the other people participating play a game of their choosing. I had to play Animorphs. And the other caveat is I could not say anything bad about Animorphs while I recorded the game. That was then. This is now. Animorphs Game Boy Color is one of the worst pieces of shit media tie-in horrible RNG pieces of bullshit game I have ever experienced. That felt good saying. And I am going to definitely highlight this part for you, Troidal Power. Because, yeah, I held up my end of the bargain. I did not say anything bad about the game when I recorded it, but that's not going to stop me from saying Game Boy Color Animorphs is a piece of shit. 1 star. It is horrible. It is terrible. Next, Lords of Thunder. That 100% sounds like my understanding of the Animorphs game. It is so horrible. Don't even try it. Lords of Thunder. My first PC Engine game, TurboGrafx, if you will. And wow, Lords of Thunder. I suck at it, but the thing with Lords of Thunder is I think it was this game that made me realize that, hey, difficult games can truly be fun even if you suck at it. It was this game that I give credit for teaching me that. So, yeah, and of course, kick-ass soundtrack, exactly. Lords of Thunder, one of the best metal scores out there. You know what? Yeah, I suck at it, but I had so much fun with it. 5 stars. 5 stars for Lords of Thunder. Final Fantasy V, the Pixel Remaster. Now, for this, when I recorded this, I did it 4-job Fiesta version. Now, if you've never heard of the Final Fantasy V 4-job Fiesta, that means that you have to play the entire game only using 4 jobs. You cannot change your job multiple times throughout the game. Whatever job you're assigned to, you are stuck with it. When I played this, I was assigned Black Mage, Geomancer, Samurai, and crap, I forgot what the other one was. This was also a very fun, special game for me because I got COVID while I was recording Final Fantasy V. So, as an American playing Final Fantasy V, what do you feel to being a hero called Butts? Not that huge of a deal because we in America grew up on Beavis and Butthead, so I guess he could be Buttshead for all I know. For all I care. I mean, the other alternative would have been to call him Bartz, but Butts is more fun. But yeah, in the middle of recording Final Fantasy V, I got COVID, so it felt like it took extra effort to play through the game. Then I recovered from COVID, and then I had to deal with Neo X death with the four job fiesta limits that I was facing, and that was one of the hardest things I have ever had to do. In Gauntlet. The second hardest final boss I have ever dealt with. But at the time, that was a struggle. So, I am very extra sentimental towards Final Fantasy V for those reasons. 4 stars. Next, Babaruka. From the same people that made Party 2 comes their first commercial game, Supernova Studios' first commercial game, Babaruka. A horror game where CC Takato, hello. Babaruka, the game where you're in a Tamagotchi game, and the Tamagotchi game itself is possessed by the creepy stuff. It's very gruesome, it's very creepy. It's also, well, at the time I played it, it's also very glitched. Easy to get soft block in the game, and the DLC that I played, very glitched at the time. I hope it got fixed. I'm not sure if it did, but I reported it, and I'm not sure if it got updated since. It's a fun experience. It's a fun, interesting take on the horror genre, but too many glitches and soft blocks prevent me from making it go higher than 3 stars. But yeah, I hope you're doing okay, CC Takato. Next, the one game I chose from the last of the itch.io collection games. I played Blackout. Blackout is a really fun take on the LucasArts Sierra Online style adventure game that's also a very, very, very short one. So if you don't have time to play through adventure games, Blackout is perfect for you. It's a perfect one I would recommend. And it's also ooky spooky as well. 4 stars. Let me actually look up who made Blackout. This is also the episode where I played Bad Ben, but I feel like enough people already know Bad Ben, so I wanted to give a shout out to Blackout from Fresh in all caps. Oh wait, I meant to put you down here. 4 stars. It's a fun point-and-click adventure that looks like it could have been made back then. And it's also very short. I would definitely recommend it. Next, Barred Harder. One of the funniest actual visual novels that I have played. It is so hilarious. You're in a Dungeons and Dragons type tabletop game with your friends, and you have a crush on the dungeon master. But here's where the fun part comes in. Your character has to romance the main bad guy. Your main character has to romance Big Bad himself. And if you can't, then you and your friends are in trouble. It is so funny. I give it 4 stars only because you have to. It's one of those things where you have to play through the game multiple times to get the true ending. Next, another computer classic from the 90s, Wolfenstein 3D. The game that should have gotten all the credit that Doom got for innovating the first-person shooter genre. But Doom became more popular, I guess, understandably so. Which I guess is fair, because Doom did actually improve some things that from Wolfenstein 3D, and Wolfenstein 3D can be tricky, can be tough without looking up maps, which I had to do when I recorded this. My first German words comes from that game. Yeah, same here. And, fun fact, the Super Nintendo version of Wolfenstein 3D replaces all of the dogs with giant mutant rats. So, whenever I see Bunny playing a game and she gets all upset that she has to hurt an animal that's clearly attacking them, I just say, hey, just think of it as you attacking a giant mutant rat. That's all. That's all you gotta do. Yeah, Wolfenstein 3D, 2 stars. Next, Skyroads. Another one from the DOS era. This was another game that I was forced to play by participating in Bogus Meat Factory's Draft League. And this game is actually kind of fun, but very, very tricky. In this game, Skyroads, you're in this ship, and you have to go through this course, but the course that you're on will either hinder your gravity, stop you from jumping, prevent you from stopping or slowing down, forces you to speed up into the highest possible speeds. It's interesting, but also one of the hardest games I've ever played. 3 stars. Next, Yaradora Doublecast. This is an anime full motion video game for serious. It is an actual anime, and it plays exactly like an FMV game. You watch everything that's going on, and then everything stops, pauses, and you're given some choices. And the choice you make will make the anime go one way or another. There are also several bad endings that you get in this game, depending on your choices. Yeah, the PlayStation Portable version of this game, which got a English fan patch, I believe, and I discovered this game by watching Sasquatch play the game. And basically, the game is about meeting this girl who seemingly has amnesia, but there's also a murder mystery involved in this. Yeah, it's a very interesting experience. A lot of bad endings, a few good endings. 3 stars. Next, Yardadora Doublecast. This is the end of 2022 for me. We are now in 2023, the games I played in 2023. And looking at this tier list, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26 games left. We're 3/4 of the way through. Alright, next, Super Street Fighter 2, The New Challengers. 5 stars, it introduced Cammy to the world. Next, Intelligent Cube. One of the games that you couldn't help but discover through PlayStation's demo discs, at least here in America. The community game along at that time called for puzzle games, and I wanted to try the full game of Intelligent Cube. It is a fun puzzle game, also very frustrating, but the music in this game stands out. You get something straight out of a classic FM AM radio while giant blocks are hurling towards you. I give it 4 stars. It is definitely one of those games that you have to try. And if you were around the PlayStation 1 demo disc era at the time, you certainly tried it at least once. Next, oh boy, Terra Nova. Terra Nova, aka the Live Journal Simulator. You play this girl, and you are in this role-playing community with your best friend and one of her best friends, and you meet someone who just casually happens to stumble upon this role-playing community that you started. They join the community, and you two end up falling in love. And, yeah, this game, oh man, I just thinking about it is just making me a little emotional right now. I think Terra Nova is the first game where I absolutely shed tears while in the middle of recording it. I mean, there are a few games where I got emotional, but not nearly as emotional as I got when I played Terra Nova. It's cleverly advertised as a game for those that grew up in the live journal era, especially the live journal communities, the role-playing communities, and you met people in live journal that loved the same shit you did. It even has anime icons, anime live journal icons. You talk like Zork 1. Oh man, I'm gonna talk about Zork 1 in a little bit. But yeah, it is an amazing recreation of the 2000s live journal era. Why do I keep saying era? Area. Oh my god. Area. Terra Nova. A great experience if you grew up in the live journal era in the 2000s. For both the good and the not so good. The amazing and the depressing parts. It's all perfect. A perfect recreation. The problem is that because there's another game out there called Terra Nova, it is very difficult to look up. Extremely difficult to look up. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to put a link right down here. Yeah. Check it out for yourself. Highly recommended. Strongly recommended. It is fun, it is silly, but also one of the most emotional experiences you will get. What the hell? 5 stars. Next. Oh, actually, wait a second. Let me rewind a little bit. It probably didn't help that I got extra emotional while recording Terra Nova, because at the time I was recording Terra Nova, I was forced to move. Me and Bunny were forced to move. The apartment we were living in at the time decided, hey, we're not going to renew your lease because we want to renovate your home. So you can move to another unit or you can move out completely. So there was a lot of stress at that time. And the emotional, super emotional ending did not help. But still, Terra Nova, still a great game. I heard about that on Twitter. Sorry about that. Well, I mean, hey, it worked out for the better. We got a much bigger place, a much nicer place, and we just renewed our lease for another year, plus 2 months. And our lease only went up for about $30, so yay, it all worked out well. Speaking of our new place, the first game that I recorded in our new home, Super Mario All-Stars. I'm going to turn the background music down a little bit because I'm having a hard time hearing myself. Super Mario All-Stars. Another game that I sort of randomized. I played this in shuffler mode rules, which is another thing I discovered through Games Done Quick. What that means is every 2 minutes or so, the game will change. Basically, I inserted 4 different copies of Super Mario All-Stars into this shuffler emulator, and every 2 minutes, it will abruptly jump from, say, Super Mario Bros. 1 to Super Mario Bros. 3, then it'll jump back to Super Mario Bros. 2, then jump to the lost levels, in any order, any random order, Does not matter what part of the game you're at. You could be jumping mid-air over a giant gap, and the game will switch to another game. Yeah, BizHawk, mate. BizHawk did this shuffler thing. Yeah, it's BizHawk. I wanted to try it. Super Mario All-Stars. Beat all 4 games in shuffler mode. A totally fun experience. I am totally a sadist. The Lost... Oh, yeah. I think Lost Levels took the longest time for me to beat. 8-3, the level in the clouds. That level took me a lot of trouble. I didn't even bother playing the letter levels. A-whatever, B-whatever. I considered 8-4 a clear because Lost Levels is a lot. But still a fun experience that I gotta give 4 stars to. Next, Trombone Champ. When I first heard of Trombone Champ, I honestly thought it was an April Fool's joke. But no, Trombone Champ is a real game, where all the music you play is public domain, and you play it trombone style. I appreciate that the game, to this day, is still getting free updates, getting more music, more and more modes. It is something you have to experience for yourself to truly appreciate it. So I'm going to give Trombone a 5-star rating. Mainly because it is a very original take on the music genre. I like that game, but it destroys my wrist. I don't blame you for that. The better Wii music. Yes, the better Wii music indeed. Exactly. Next, Mega Man 8, the Saturn version. Mega Man 8 is very, very, very underrated. The level design is great, other than jump, slide. The music is so good and so different from what you normally get in a Mega Man game. And yeah, it is one of my favorite Mega Man games of the classic variety. But I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And then, of course, the dub. That classic question mark dub featuring some very Mega Man, very... Yeah, you know it. You've heard it. I specifically played the Saturn version only because you cannot play the Saturn version on all the other re-releases of Mega Man 8. Every re-release of Mega Man 8 was based off the PlayStation version. So I wanted to be extra and play Saturn. Even with Japanese English speaking. Yep, unfortunately, yeah. Dr. Wowie. I am Homestar One, and you must fight the evil Mega Man. Yes. Okay. Next, Plock. Plock, the one great thing about this game is the score from the Folan brothers. Everything else about this game, yeah, would not recommend. It's very difficult, it's very frustrating, but Plock did have some inspiration. It did inspire David Wise. David Wise has gone on record to say the music in Plock was great. Because Sega post-Genesis consoles tanked. Yeah, pretty much, unfortunately. Yeah, Plock. Amazing soundtrack. But that's about all it had going for it. So 2 stars. Alright, next. Super Adventure Island 2. I like this game because it is a pretty short Metroidvania-style game. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the fact that no Yuzo Koshiro. Yuzo Koshiro composed the first Super Adventure Island. But Super Adventure Island 2, no Yuzo Koshiro. But still had a good score. Very, very good score. Damn that OST. Yes, exactly. Damn that OST. I should play through and record Super Adventure Island 1 for Yuzo Koshiro reasons, but the game surprised me when I was a kid. It was like, wow, is this an adventure island or an RPG? That is exactly that was my first impression of this game, because up until that point, the only adventure island I had ever experienced was the 2D dinosaur hopping ones and the notoriously insanely difficult Adventure Island 1. For some reason, that game and Joe and Mac 2 had a similar... Yeah, Joe and Mac 2 did have a similar approach. But I feel like Super Adventure Island 2 did a much better job integrating the Metroidvania action RPG style gameplay than Joe and Mac 2 did. Which, by the way, Joe and Mac 2, you can play that on the Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah, Adventure Island 2. Super Adventure Island 2. Oh yeah, and there's also gambling in the game too. Where are you? Super Adventure Island. It's still a fun game. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I am running out of room. Can we see this? Well, that's the best we're going to do right now. Next. Where on earth is Carmen Sandiego? Where are... Just hold on a second. Yeah, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? This was a game that I played for Teacher Appreciation Month. Teacher Appreciation Week. Because, I mean, if you don't know, I am an actual teacher. For real, I have my own classroom. And, of course, I had to celebrate the other fun educational game of the time. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? 4 stars. It's definitely one of those games where it was a grass skirt. Good times with the original Carmen Sandiego. It's one of those games where you don't think you'll enjoy it, but then once you start playing it, you don't want to stop playing it. Also, a good history lesson. And by history lesson, I mean... What was around back then? Do it, Rockapella. Yeah, exactly. Next. The Binding of Isaac. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? The Binding of Isaac. This is a game that took years to make into one of the more fun roguelikes out there. Carmen Sandiego could run circles around Lupin. That is absolutely true. Carmen Sandiego would run circles around Lupin. And even if Lupin were to find Carmen Sandiego, all she would have to do is just charm the pants off him, and then she could just take off. It would be even worse than anytime Fujiko Mine charmed Lupin. Yeah, Binding of Isaac. This was a fun, a bit dark roguelike. My issue with it is the Repentance expansion makes everything so great. Unfortunately, it is behind multiple paywalls. But wait, hold on. I don't think Repentance is standalone. Yeah, absolutely. The granddaddy of roguelikes. It's either standalone, but it's expensive, or you have to get the game and then get the Repentance expansion, but after Repentance, it becomes a great experience. But without Repentance, a lot of what makes Binding of Isaac so great today is lost. you could... But even with the base game alone, even with just the base game, there's a lot of replay value. I mean, that's what you expect in a roguelike. You're going to play the game over and over and over and over again. You're going to die a lot. But it depends on how much you're willing to die is how much you can tolerate the game. Or at least it got the modern kick started for those games. Yep, pretty much. I'm always going to have a soft spot for it because Binding of Isaac was one of my favorite games on the Vita. But when the community Game Along called for a roguelike theme, I just had to see how much I could push myself on how far I could get by playing through the entirety of Binding of Isaac. I got pretty far, though. Hell, one of the hardest boss in the entire game, arguably the hardest boss in the entire game, Delirium, I, honest to God, beat it by doing nothing. I got a combo, a set of items that basically let me kill anyone and anything without touching my controller. It was an extremely lucky run. Next, Ys 1 and 2, the TurboGrafx PC Engine version of Ys Book 1 and 2. Ys 1, great game for its time. Ys 2, I am still mad at the final dungeon of Ys 2. And remember how I said Neo X Death 4-Job Fiesta version was the second hardest final boss? Darm. The hardest final boss I have ever fought in Gauntlet. Because even if you grinded all the way to the highest possible level, Darm still gives you a freaking hard time. And that final dungeon, that final area in Ys 2, one of the most frustrating things I have ever had to deal with in a JRPG. It is so easy to get lost in there, and if you're not careful, you could save your game and then load the game right where an enemy spawns, killing you over and over and over and over again. And I say this because that actually happened to me. I somehow was able to beat the game, but if I had to choose between Ys 1 and Ys 2, I would take Ys 1. Ys 1, way more fun than Ys 2. So, Ys 1 being a 4-star experience, Ys 2 being a 2-star experience, put them all together, and you get one 3-star experience. Still one of the most impressive games for its time. Still one of the most amazing RPGs for its time. Now, not so much. You could do so much better than Ys 1 and 2. And I'm sure there will be people say, yeah, there are better Ys games out there. But wait a second, Ys 1 and 2, one of the most innovative games ever. It's innovative, yeah. But that last part of Ys 2 sucks. Ahem. Next, Zork. The first Zork, the most recent game that I was punished into playing thanks to Bogus Meat Factory's Draft League. Bogus tasked everyone with playing through Zork and finding the Cyclops. All we had to do was find the Cyclops in the twisty passages, and then that was it. Supposedly, it is very difficult to do without drawing a map. And that's what I ended up having to do. I drew a map of everything that I did. All the paths that I took. It seemed like there were a lot of dead ends, and I didn't realize this until afterwards. A lot of the passageways that you have to go through randomized. I did not realize this. So my map looked like crap. It looked like a very convoluted mess. I wonder if I still have the map up. I might have to pull it up. Let's see. And I believe to find the Cyclops, you had to find certain items to helps you give you hints as to where the Cyclops is. Or you could just do what I did and just keep going through dead end after dead end after dead end after dead end after dead end until you accidentally stumble upon the Cyclops. Which is what happened with me. Okay, so I am loading up my map that I drew, or at least I'm attempting to load my map. It is difficult to do without drawing a map. Yep, I certainly learned that the hard way. The save file that Bogus gave me starts at the beginning of the twisty passages, and as you can see, I did a lot of dead ends. But through trial and error, I discovered the part of the twisty little passages that led me to the Dead Adventurer, and through more trial and error, without realizing that there are things that make finding the Cyclops a lot easier, I found the Cyclops. So yay me. I think to this day, Bogus is still wondering how lucky I got there. I did have a fun... I will laugh, because when I went to the Dead Adventurer, there was one thing where I was just so frustrated that I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to take all the items. And I found out the hard way, you do not take all of the items, because the game will literally interpret that as you taking everything from the Dead Adventurer. It's in my highlight reel when I accidentally took everything. Now, as for Zork, the rating of Zork itself, 3 stars, I guess. Alright. Next is Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk. What? Did you finish it after that? I stopped there because Bogus only wanted us to find the Cyclops. We could continue if we wanted to, but I chose not to because I had other stuff to do. He only wanted us to find the Cyclops. This is actually a game that I had my eye on since I first started Gauntlet. Since 2018. And the characters and the writing, they are so fun. And it's also fun to intentionally sabotage the cop's drink without the game punishing you for it. And, I mean, I'm not 100% sure if there are any quote-unquote bad endings, because I was able to clear the entire thing with a good ending. But it is a very chill game, fun, relaxing game, and the writing, especially the not-so-subtle jabs at AAA developers, fantastic. So I am going to give it 4 stars. Next. Oh, probably my favorite of the Sierra adventure games, Gabriel Knight's Sins of the Fathers. Featuring some top-tier acting from Tim Curry with a Louisiana accent. Tim Curry as a novelist that is attempting to solve the mystery of the evil voodoo. Also, Michael Dorn is in it, and as he's a villain. It is a fantastic, silly experience that I would give 4 stars to, but because of Tim Curry alone, it gets an extra star. So, boom, 5 stars for Gabriel Knight's Sins of the Fathers, and specifically Tim Curry. Next, Alien Soldier. A treasure hit. I hope he got paid well. I hope he got paid well, too. Alien Soldier. It is a fun treasure game, which is basically fast-paced boss rush mode. The one thing that kind of bothers me, though, is how big some of the sprites are. It's a little much for me, especially compared to Gunbuster. Not Gunbuster, Gunstar Heroes. Why am I thinking about Gunbuster? It's never a bad time to think about Gunbuster. But I have to give it 3 stars. There are some really cool boss designs, but the game can be a little tricky, and I have a hard time looking past the size of some of the sprites, especially for a game released in 1995. Big sprites equals Gunbuster. Big sprite equals Gunbuster. So yeah, 3 stars. Definitely worth experiencing, but it depends on your tolerance of difficulty and, yeah, graphics. The next game, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. Koji! Link's Awakening DX. One of the best Zelda games. The best Game Boy game. Wonderful story all around. 5 stars. Not gonna waste too much time on that. It is a great game. You need hard work and guts to make this chart. Yep. I definitely feel like I need hard work and guts right now. I'm pushing myself, but we are almost done. MDi, we know your true love of anime. Shut up. You shut up about Handmade May. No one needs that in my own damn stream. Link's Awakening is so good. It is so good. I was also surprised at how many views it got compared to some of the other games that I played, which makes me wonder if I should do a Gauntlet episode on Oracle of Ages and Seasons in the future. Definitely something to consider there. Next, probably my favorite among the PC Engine library, Castlevania Rondo of Blood. The music in that game, so damn good. MDi really likes me, strawberry eggs. Not sure what that is a reference to, I'm sorry. But yeah, Rondo of Blood. It's the traditional action platformer style Castlevania games, but it's a short experience. The level design, while frustrating at times, still fun and creepy. The bosses are amazing. The fight against Dracula is it's fun. And Symphony, by the way, Symphony of the Night totally nerfed that one fight against Dracula. But still, an amazing experience, 5 stars. Next. Friday the 13th. Classic early whatever. The Friday the 13th NES game. A couple of you were here for that one. Speaking of classics? Question mark? 1 star. It is worth playing 1 time. That's why it gets 1 star, because you only need to play it 1 time. Next, Slay the Princess. Now this game is great. Die, monster, you don't belong in this world. Now, Slay the Princess. A wonderful time loop visual novel. And It's definitely one of those, the less you know about this, the better. But basically the game wants you to slay the princess. But do you really have to slay the princess? 5 stars. Definitely 5 stars for that one. Next. I was a teenage exocolonist. This game actually kind of disappointed me a little bit. What about Bubsy 3D? Now, hold on a second there. The community game along in December is going to do a theme all about bad games. So maybe Bubsy 3D will show up in December. Maybe. But anyway, I was a teenage exocolonist. I heard people say that it was one of the best visual novels. And yeah, the gameplay was interesting. I loved how the card game influenced your choices and your stats, and I appreciate the stat building. But the game was kind of disappointing to me. Some of the character designs were kind of weird to me. Almost like they were trying a little too hard to be DeviantArt OCs, I guess. But there were a few cool characters. There were a few cool character designs, but overall, the character design was kind of eh. And the story, it kind of takes forever to go through, but it's one of those games where you can replay it over and over and over to fully experience the story. But the way you experience the story is different each time. You could do one thing, you could do another thing, but it takes forever to go through one story. And the game is kind of sort of misleading on how you retain your memories, so to speak. There are a few good things about it, but for me, the cons outweigh the pros, so 2 stars. Next, Game Center CX Areno no Chosenjo 2, or Retro Game Challenge 2. I mainly wanted to play this game because last year, Game Center CX celebrated its 20th anniversary. And other than Attica, Game Center CX was one of my inspirations for Gauntlet. So I wanted to commemorate this. Game Center CX Areno no Chosenjo 2, or Retro Game Challenge 2, basically, if you don't know, is a collection of original games that are based off of games that were made in the 80s and 90s. Like, you had your typical platformer, you had your typical Famicom Detective Club game, and shooters, puzzles, RPGs. It was a fun collection of original titles. Some were great, some were fantastic that I would play by itself. And then there were some that I would not want to touch ever again. 3 stars. Next, we have made it to 2024. All the games that I have played this year. First up, Arcade's Greatest Hits, the Midway Collection 2. Which I mainly played for the community game along's food theme. So I played the food-themed games that were in this collection. Root Beer Tapper, Splat, and Burger Time. I would not want to play any of those again, and there are better arcade collections out there, so 1 star. Next, Puzzle and Action Ikidon R. This game is one of those that turned 30 this year. I bought the game on the Switch, and it was the very first game that I recorded using the Elgato capture device. It is fun. It is a fun game, it is also very difficult. It's even OG WarioWare. Yeah, exactly. OG WarioWare. Hell, even Game Center CX made a reference to this, the puzzle and action games being an inspiration to WarioWare. Even with Infinite Continues, the game is difficult because you get less time to complete the minigames, and there is no way out of the minigames unless you actually clear it. So it was a legitimately tough experience. Probably the toughest arcade game that I have played with Infinite Continues. But it's still fun. I'd give it 3 stars, though. Come on, get up there. 3 stars. Next, Lakeburg Legacies. A town-building sim where everything is developed based on the villagers that you hook up and marry and encourage to have babies with. After the emotional experience of Terra Nova, I wanted to play something that wasn't an emotionally charged visual novel, because I got that through Terra Nova, I got that through Starlight Shores, so I wanted to try something a little different. Lakeburg Legacies. Unfortunately, I killed everybody because everybody died of hunger. But the game said I won. I still won. I would not mind trying this game again, because it does encourage replay value for the sake of unlocking art. But if you're into town building sims, this might be for you. If you're into the idea of hooking up random people, marrying them, you might be into it, but it can be tricky. So I gotta give it 3 stars. Next, The Misadventures of Tron Bonne. Despite how much fun I had with this game, there were some parts that I forgot about that made this very frustrating and oftentimes, a few times, unfair. But I still say Misadventures of Tron Bonne is one of the most fun spin-offs I've ever played, and it is also the best Mega Man Legends game. 4 stars. And now, episode 100, game number 100. Another game that turns 30 this year. Donkey Kong. I have already played this game. I have already recorded it. I have to edit the footage. It's not published yet. But I have played through this game. Just in time to tier it. 5 stars. It is still one of the best Game Boy games I have ever played. It is so fun, so addictive. And yes, I love that version too. It is also one of the best reimaginings out there. Forget your Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Forget your Persona 3 Reloaded. We got a good, high-quality reimagining. Donkey Kong, the 94 version. We did it. 100 games. We did it. 100 games. Tiered. Oh man, that was 4 hour at the 4-hour mark too. Hooray! So yeah, if you want to check out more games that I played, or if you want to actually see my experience with each of these games, my YouTube channel is MDisc Playlist. That's it. And I'm still keeping an eye out on games that people might want to see me actually stream live, like I did with Misadventures of Tron Bonne. The next game I was planning on streaming was an itch.io game at the recommendation of my friend Rachel, Soul Void. And then after that, I was going to stream Illusion of Gaia. I'm planning on recording Illusion of Gaia. The real question is, what is your favorite on the 5-star? Oh, good question. Oh, man. What is my favorite out of the 5-star games? I'm going to cop out and say it's Super Street Fighter 2 because it introduced Cammy. And Cammy is just, we already know how I feel about Cammy. So there you go. There's my answer.